This morning's intent is to level set a little bit some of the questions that maybe we don't talk about in the bars, but that we know are questions that really do need to be answered in the space of IoT. And so, in order to do that, I was talking to my wife and my kids about this presentation, and my little daughter says, "Dad, what is the Internet of Things?" And I said, "Well, it's a collection of things." So I started with a definition and started looking at it, and I said, there we go. Well, a thing, sweetheart, is anything that's not something sentient or living. It can be a chair, it could be a table, a window. That's a thing. And then we started talking about the fact that we're connecting these and what that meant. And it dawned on me that we're connecting a lot of things, and we're connecting a lot of things very quickly. And in fact, when I was talking to someone recently, I once said to them, I said, "Do you know when the very first connected thing actually happened?" Of course, I got a lot of dates and times that were 1960, 1970, 2000. And what will be fascinating for you to find out is actually the very first connected thing was in 1922 when the world installed the very first radio in a car as the very first connected thing. Now, of course, that definition of connected has evolved to a broader, more robust, more rich conversation of connected. But the point is, we have had a thirst to connect for a very long time. So going back to my daughter, I said, well, that's what connected me, so let's kind of talk about that. So she and I and the rest of the kids, we went around the house and said, how many connected things might there be in our home? And unfortunately, we stopped at 1,000. Because I couldn't actually write many more numbers, and she got tired, and the kids got tired. But then it started dawning on me, it was like, wow, that's actually a pretty big number just in my own home. So I went to a friend of mine who's a village manager, and I said, so in your village, how many things could be connected? So we started talking, we pulled out maps, we were looking at things, and we stopped at 1 million. So in and of itself, not very interesting numbers, until you start thinking about the fact that, guess what? As of 2015, there's 125 million homes in the United States of America only. There are over 19,000 cities in the United States only. If you work out all the math, just in the United States, that gives us the potential for over 144 billion things to connect. And I haven't even started contemplating trees, bushes, irrigation systems, pipes. It's a really, really big number. And so one of the questions that we get asked a lot is, okay, great, lots of big things, we're connecting. What are really some of the hairy questions that need to be addressed in IoT? Because in every show we ever go to, it's always sunshine and clouds and unicorns. Or sorry, sunny skies, not clouds, sunny skies. And so some of the questions that actually need to be raised, and that we're going to try and set the stage for today in both the opening conversations from Analog and Spirent, as well as the key panel, are these questions that my team and I are working to solve. Is there an individual right to be forgotten? Sure, we all talk about the idea of opting in and opting out, but is there the right to actually be forgotten? And if the answer to that question is yes, then what are we doing to ensure that we have the technology, the tools, and the policies to make it work? Because quite frankly, if you talk to Google, they'll tell you it's really, really hard fulfilling that European mandate with a right to be forgotten. So if we believe it is a right and that we should have it, what are we doing to make that happen? What does privacy mean in a fully connected world? And so I'm going to ask you the following. In my house, my wife recently got an Alexa. We have a Samsung TV. Do I now need to start posting to people who come to my home that their voices, their conversations will be recorded? Do we have to have opt-ins in the conversations of our homes when we bring guests in? Some people laugh, but these are the kinds of questions that are going to come quickly as we begin to connect everything. And the time to think about these questions and to try and answer them is now, not later. How do we deal with security when we connect insecure things to the Internet of Things? We all saw the infamous Jeep hack last summer, individual car, very, very, very magnificent from the standpoint of, wow, cool, that could be done. Scary when contemplating that that car represents what most vehicles look like and are going to look like as we move to a connected car future. And what's really, really concerning is that those same infrastructure pieces are also used by our military and other militaries around the world. And so quite frankly and honestly, we have a world of insecurity that we want to connect to. How do we handle that? Are we prepared? Have we built the necessary things in our repertoire and toolbox? And last but not least is, because we can connect something, should we? And why that question is very interesting is that there are reports now coming out of universities that with really interesting advances in material sciences and others, we're beginning to create the fundamental building blocks of product with connectivity already woven in. In fact, we may find a future where it is cheaper to just have everything connected than it is to build something not connected. And so in a world like that, do we really want to connect everything? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the kinds of questions that we should be thinking about as we begin to contemplate the next multi-billion-dollar businesses, the opportunity for data and data management. They are not small questions. They are not easy questions. But they are questions that part of this panel and this keynote, and the questions that are going to happen out throughout the course of the day, you'll see me and some others on moderated panels, will continue to weave these questions in. Because without answering these questions, we do not understand the future. And as Abraham Lincoln and Peter Drucker said, the best way to predict the future is, in fact, to create it.